So, I've been seeing a man in my backyard for the past 2 nights. To start, I need to give you some background. I'm a male who lives in a relatively nice neighborhood. It's your average small town, run-of-the-mill suburbs area with not a lot of people. I am a college kid who's home on break while my parents have gone away, which doesn't help at all. I have a 2-story house. I do not have a gun, nor do I have any real weapons other than kitchen knives. I'm not on any medication, and I have no record of schizophrenia or any other mental illnesses. I barely have any relationships with my neighbors, most of whom are elderly, and the rest I have minimal contact with. I do not have any people in my neighborhood that I know of who have reasons to attack or harm me. Now, let's get into what has been happening. About 2 nights ago, I woke up very late in the night and I went to the bathroom to go take a shit. Now, my 2nd-story bathroom has a window that can see the entirety of my backyard. Directly behind it is a cul-de-sac, which you can see directly into. There is a group of trees and pile of rocks and mulch that divides it. Usually, I can see everything in my back room without turning on my lights, because lights from my neighbor's house dimly lights the area. As I'm using the toilet, I look outside and I notice there is a car parked directly facing my house in the cul-de-sac. Now, if you have ever seen a cul-de-sac before, you know that when you park, you always either park right next to the curves of the sac or the sides of the street. This car was directly facing the curve behind my house. I thought this was extremely strange, considering whoever parked must have been there to visit someone, but if that were the case, then why would they have not parked in one of the driveways? The people who lived behind me were both elderly, so they probably didn't have some sort of a big block party that I didn't know about, and even then, only an idiot would park like that. As I stared into the car, I could distinguish a figure in the driver's seat, just sitting there. Since the lights were not on in my bathroom, whoever was in the car probably couldn't see me through that window. At this point, I was determined to just see who the fuck was in there. So I went downstairs, got my binoculars from my dad's closet, and went back to my bathroom to see who was there. Take in mind, this is 3 in the fucking morning, and what person would be in their car just sitting there in the middle of the winter? As I go into my bathroom, I look outside to find nothing. The car had since left. I thought it was relief, as I was probably just freaking out over nothing, and the person was just leaving whoever they were visiting. But then again, what are the odds that the moment I notice the car, that's the moment that the person leaves? I finally calmed myself down and went back to sleep. The next day, a mix of boredom and paranoia got the better of me. I decided it was time for some investigation. I got to my backyard cul-de-sac to see if there was any trace of the person who was there last night. Nothing. I go to my neighbors to see if they had anybody over the other night. Maybe it would clarify why somebody would be parked there. I asked both the owners of the houses on the curves of the cul-de-sac, both of whom said they did not have visitors. I asked for their numbers and left. This is when my paranoia really started to kick in. This was fucked up. I had no clue whether the person was coming back later, and I can't call the police as they won't respond to a complaint that isn't even valid. I decided to wait until later to see if the person came back. I spent that entire night talking with my college friends about it over video chat, all of whom thought that I was either making it up or freaking out over nothing. I sign off and watch Netflix until it's pretty late. The entire time, I just kept thinking about looking out of my window to check, but since my friends had told me that I was worrying about nothing, and also since I'm a bit of a coward, I just never checked it. Finally, the clock ticked 3:24 AM, the exact same time that I woke up the night before. I thought, fuck it, might as well check to be sure. This is where I absolutely shit myself. The same exact car was parked, and there was a man in a black hoodie and a ski mask standing right next to it, just staring at my house. I immediately ran to go get my phone, dialed my neighbors, none of which answered, and I ran back to the window. only to see that he was now standing in my fucking backyard. This was no longer a burglary attempt, because if it was, he would be looking through my lower house windows trying to break in. This had to be some sort of a stalker. I decided, fuck this, and opened my window and screamed at the top of my lungs. "Who the fuck are you?" No response. "I'm going to call the fucking police. Get the fuck out of my property," I yelled. Finally, the man spoke. "Have a nice day," in like that cheery way a cashier at the store would say when you're leaving. The man waltzed, and I literally mean waltzed like a happy cartoon character, back to his car and left. I called the police department immediately. They asked me if I had any friends who were trying to play a prank on me, and I said no, I don't have any friends like that. Like I said, this town was relatively small and the police did jack shit. They told me that if it happens again, to call them immediately. I'm shitting myself right now. It's currently 11 PM, and God knows he'll be back tonight. I'm going to be looking out of my window all night waiting for him. I'll keep you all in touch if anything happens. Wish me luck. Update, 12:24 AM. I'm currently staring outside looking out of my window waiting for the man to come back. I have informed my neighbours about his arrival, and they told me that they're also on the lookout. I feel extremely nervous, but at least I have my neighbours helping me out. I just want this to be over. 1:24 AM. So nothing has shown up yet. Got a call from my mum about a half an hour ago. I haven't told them about any of the shit that's happening. I just told her that I loved her and hung up the phone. My friends have been Snapchatting me asking me about this shit. I said that I'll try to get a picture of him if I can. If I do, then I'll upload it so you guys can see as well. 1:34 AM. The neighbours told me they see a car parked up the street from them. One of my neighbours, who's in his mid-40s, says that he's going to check it out. My foot is tapping the floor like crazy right now. 1:37 AM. False alarm. Turns out it was just the car of a family who just got home. Fuck me, this suspense is making me sick. 1:48 AM. One of my neighbours says he's going to sleep. This isn't good. I just hope the rest of them hold up for me until the rest of the night. I really don't know if I'm even going to sleep at all tonight. I've already chugged 2 cups of coffee, and I'm as alert as possible. 2:11 AM. I was looking out of my window when I heard something in the bushes of my backyard. I couldn't tell whether it was the guy, the wind, or some animal, so I turned on the light in my backyard and saw nothing. I think the paranoia is getting to me. 2:17 AM. Alright, it's official. I'm losing my shit. I heard something crash in my kitchen and I ran down to see what was happening. Some pan had fallen over from the shelf. Nothing notable, but it scared the absolute daylights out of me. I went back upstairs to start looking out of the window again. At one of the streets right off my backyard, which is about 200 yards away, through the trees, I saw a car at a corner flashing its brights repeatedly and then taking a right, driving away from the street that's leading to my house. What the fuck is going on? This motherfucker is taunting me or something. 2:32 AM. Alright, so I'm totally freaked out at the moment. I'm out of here. I'm bringing my laptop and my wallet and my phone with me and staying in my neighbour's house. I'm not staying here for another second. 2:40 AM. I'm currently at my neighbour's house staring into my backyard and the cul-de-sac. I walked out of my back door and sprinted and rang the doorbell as fast as possible. They saw me and opened the door immediately. That was the scariest shit that I have ever done. I was worried that he was just gonna pull up at any second. Now, I just wait and hope for the best. 2:51 AM. Nothing out of the ordinary has happened yet. I'm dreading what will happen at 3:24 though. I saw 2 cars pass by my house. I couldn't tell if they were the same car as the one the stalker was using. At the same time, I can't tell if it was the same car passing by both ways. This guy is playing tricks on my mind. I am ready to dial 911 at any second now. I called my parents and told them what was happening. They said that they will be on their way home tomorrow. God, please protect me. 3:01 a.m. This guy is definitely coming. A car came up the street on the cul-de-sac and started flashing its high beams again and left. He's trying to fuck with my mind. Thank God I left the house, because the direction he is going is that he is definitely coming back around to my house. I'm scared, and I'm not even in my house anymore. The moment that I even see him outside his car, I'm calling the police. 3:11 a.m. My neighbor and I both agreed that we were going to leave the house and drive to the police station as soon as we see him park near my house. My heart is racing. I can't believe that I had just waited in my house alone for the past couple of hours. What was I thinking? 3:20 a.m. Still nothing yet. 4 minutes left. Even if he doesn't come, I sure as hell am not going back. I'm not even sure if I'll stay here. This is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. Holy fuck. 3:25 a.m. Someone has parked in my fucking driveway. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'll try to update you guys on my phone or later when they arrest this guy, but I'm leaving now. Thank you all for the support. Update. So, it's the 19th of February 2017, 1:15 p.m. It's the next day. For those of you who are concerned, I'm alive. I went to the police station and I've been questioned, and they are working on finding the guy. They haven't found him yet, unfortunately. I went to a hotel and got some sleep and just woke up. I'll update you guys in a new post, but for right now, I'm just taking some time to get this sorted out. Thanks to everyone for their support. Update. Hello everyone. For anyone who's been listening to this, I'm alive and well, but far from safe. As my neighbor and I were waiting for the coast to be clear, I saw my garage door open at approximately 3:27 a.m. And right then and there, my neighbor and I booked it to his car. As we were leaving, I saw the light turn on in my bathroom, and I nearly threw up, realizing how easily he got in, and how I had been just a sitting duck an hour ago. I have been fantasizing over and over of how if I had stayed in there, my neighbors would have called me telling me he was in my driveway, and I would have heard my garage door opening with dread, just knowing I was absolutely fucked. Once we were in the car, we sped off to the local police station. The police gave me the usual rundown of questions in this type of situation, like whether I knew this man, when and where my first encounter with him was, and whether I could identify his car, and if I managed to write down his license plate. I told them that he had only come 2 times prior, and that both times it was too dark to tell, even with the streetlights. When the man had parked in my driveway, one of my neighbors who had still been on the lookout said that she saw that the car was a grey Volkswagen with no license plate. She went on to say that she saw the man type in the code to my garage, go inside, and turn on each of my lights, as though he was checking out the whole place. The man had stayed in there for 5 minutes, according to her, and proceeded to get back in his car without taking anything and sped off down my street. She notified the police immediately, and they have been searching for him since then. Nothing has come up. We returned to find that the house had been left relatively unscathed. The police did not find even a trace of DNA. Whoever this man was, he was meticulous as all hell, and he had somehow gained the knowledge of what my garage code was. It makes me shiver to think he may have been watching me, even as I typed it in earlier in the week. God only knows what other knowledge he has to track me down. My parents have still yet to return home from their trip, as their plane was delayed. So, as of right now, I'm alone, and I'm still at the hotel with only a bottle of Jack Daniels to console me. A couple of police cars have been stationed around the area of my house, looking for the guy, and they're all waiting upon his arrival. I'm not leaving this hotel until this fucker is caught. I don't think I'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm hoping that this is the night he finally can't track me. The police have advised me to stop using any form of social media that can be indicative of where I am. That means no Snapchats, no Instagram, no Facebook, nothing. They told me that I can use my laptop as long as I remain as low profile as possible. This means all I can do now is wait for the police to call me and tell me that the stalker has been caught. Now, I'm gonna try and figure out just who this guy is and why he might be trying to stalk me. Theory number 1. My 9th grade Italian teacher. So, I went to a private school, and this teacher had basically been one of the biggest lunatics I had ever met in the school system. He was very outspoken in the way that he described politics, and very mean-spirited during his time teaching. He would always make fun of students, had sometimes fallen asleep in class, and would always make perverted comments towards girls that I knew. So one day, I decided to write an email to Dean, asking him to please fire the man from his teaching position, and explaining the unacceptable behavior he had while working. It worked, and I have never seen the man since. Now, the reason I think he could be a possibility is because he never particularly liked me. In fact, I feel as though he singled me out in a lot of instances and picked on me. I don't know if he ever found out that I sent the email, but if he did, I am extremely concerned. I can't tell if it was him or not when he spoke to me in my backyard, as I was in full adrenaline mode while I was screaming at him. I would say this is not a likely suspect, but I'm just not sure. Theory number 2. My Christian deacon from back in 2nd grade. I used to be part of this church program a while back when I was in elementary school. Out of all of the head figures there, one that always stood out to me, Deacon Anthony. He was a middle-aged man, very soft-spoken, and he had always been very particularly nice to me and my friend Kevin. He would often bring us candy, talk to us about our home life, and treated us more fairly than the rest of the kids. One day, my friend Kevin had told me that Deacon Anthony had asked Kevin if he wanted to go home with him to hang out. Kevin said no to him and told me. I told my parents about this, and they immediately contacted the church and told them about it. After that, I never saw Deacon Anthony again. My parents later told me that they had contacted the board and he was removed from the church. If this is the guy, he must have had a massive personality shift after that incident, because the way the man happily told me to have a nice day did not match up with the one he had when I was younger. Theory number 3. My classmate Derek from 8th grade. Derek was one of those insecure types who would always get off to making other people feel small. He was your standard 8th grade middle school shit-eater who deserved nothing but a good ass whipping, which unfortunately never came. However, what did happen was that I had started a rumor about him that I wish not to bring up, but it pretty much ruined his reputation and made him a laughingstock. He never found out it was me as far as I could tell, but from what I heard from my hometown while I went off to public school, is that at our local public high school, the rumor hadn't stopped, and he turned into one of those quiet kids who never talked. Keep in mind, this kid literally had told my whole friend group to stop hanging out with me, so as far as I can tell, this revenge was extremely justified in my mind. This may in fact be the prime suspect, as he would most likely know where I live. I tried finding any sort of social media about him, but nothing came up. This guy is a ghost, and I have no idea what he has been up to. Theory number 4. Some complete stranger that I have no association with. Maybe this is just a genuine old school stalker who takes pride in picking out their prey from a random crowd. No one that I have seen in this town for the past week has seemed particularly odd. The only one that comes to mind was this weird cashier at 7-Eleven who seemed particularly in love with his job. He may have some form of Asperger's syndrome, or just maybe he just takes pride in being a cashier, but he was always very polite with his customers when he had been interacting with them. I had gone in to get a soda from the fountain, and as the store was empty, he asked me, "Hey, is that all you're getting?" I said, "Yeah, this is all." So he continues, "Oh well, congratulations. It's free." I thought, sweet, a free soda. This guy is a shit. I thanked him a ton as he was smoking a cigarette outside and said, "Have a good one," and left. Now, I know what all of you must be thinking. This is definitely the guy. He's a cashier, for crying out loud. Well, I'm just not so sure. This guy was probably in his 30s, seemed extremely grateful for his low-end job, and just seemed content with what he had. He didn't strike me as a stalker, but then again, I haven't been back to the store since, so maybe he's still there, or not there at all. Time will tell. I might have to stop by tomorrow and do a little more investigation. As we speak, it's 11 PM again, and I'm staring out of my hotel window scrolling through Reddit. I'm still dreading the moment I see a car with flashing high beams pull into the parking lot, so I'll probably be just looking out of my window all night again. I'll post more updates if necessary. I appreciate you all. Bye for now. Update. 12:43 AM. I'm reading all of your comments, guys, and just so you guys know, I can't get a hold of a gun as easily as most of you think. I live in a state where that shit just does not fly. The best thing that I have right now is a pepper spray and a baseball bat. 1:37 AM. Call me a lunatic, but I left my room to get some fresh air. I couldn't stand being in this small-ass hotel room one more second. I was bugging out like crazy though. Every person I saw seemed like a threat to me. I started talking with this one guy in the hotel lobby. He says that he's traveling from a different state on some sort of self-indulged journey across the country. I asked him if he has any experiences with stalkers, and he told me that he had been receiving anonymous calls a couple of years back from some random guy. I asked if he has ever encountered one in his backyard or anything, and he just looked at me funny. I explained to him the situation and he wished me the best of luck. Nothing out of the ordinary, but it was nice to have some real human interaction while I'm losing my mind. 1:46 AM. Alright, one of the janitors must be fucking with me. I spent the last 10 minutes searching for my phone and asked someone outside my room to call it for me. I listened for the ringing, and it's in the fucking safe, and the password is not the one they gave me. What the fuck is going on? This is ridiculous. Whoever did this shit is going to get torn a new one. I'm going to the manager right now to get this sorted out. 2:08 AM. I'm demanding a different room. I'm not staying in that same fucking room one more second. The whole staff is in there right now trying to figure out the safe password. Meanwhile, the manager is looking for the janitors who have been in my room to ask what the fuck they were thinking. Fuck this, I'm tired, I'm worried, and now I just lost my fucking phone. 2:24 AM. It's not the garage code, guys, I checked. Even if it was, why would it be, and how would the fucking stalker even get into my hotel room, let alone rewire my safe? 2:26 AM. Guys, I'm not leaving the hotel, okay? I already paid the money to stay here and I don't have any other place to go that's not 100 miles away. I have no car. I got here in an Uber, and at least here there is over 100 people staying. The stalker is not gonna come into a hotel full of people. 2:40 AM. Okay, now you guys got me worried. I'm sitting in my hotel room all alone with no phone. No way to call an Uber, no way to call the police, and I'm starting to think one of the janitors got bribed to do this. I now not only have no way of driving away from here, but I have no way in contacting my family or anyone for that matter of getting me away from the hotel. I'm going to wait for another 45 minutes, and if they don't open the safe, I am demanding that they call an Uber for me, and I'm driving the hell out of here. 2:53 AM. Someone just knocked on the door saying that the safe is open. I told them alright, and they asked me to come get it. I asked him if he can slip it under the door, but he said that I need to get it myself. I told him that I would in a couple of minutes, and that he'd be waiting. I don't know what to do, guys. You're all fucking with my mind. 3:10 AM. The man said that my phone is in the main lobby, if I want it. I'm on my laptop next to my window, and I could have sworn out of the corner of my eye I saw a car flashing its high beams. I don't know if I should hold out till morning or get my phone and leave. 3:14 AM. Guys, I'm not waiting until 3:24 for this guy to come into my room and jump me. I'm packing and I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'll keep you guys posted on mobile when I get my phone back. 3:16 PM. Alright guys, I'm staying at a friend's place for right now. It's the next day, so I'm a lot calmer now. Just to clarify, when I said not a trace of DNA was found, I meant that there was nothing that was found to trace this guy back, like a glove or fingerprints on the garage keypad. The police did not do a full investigation, obviously. The guy still hasn't been found. My neighbors have told me that no one has been back to the house, and my parents are currently staying at my aunt's down south. I got my phone back and there was a missed call from some guy named Nick Sullivan. What's strange is that his name was never put in my contacts. I have never met anybody called Nick Sullivan in my life, and I don't know how it wasn't there. I tried calling back and it just went to voicemail. Creep as shit nonetheless. Maybe I'm just paranoid, I don't know. I'll see if I can make another update tonight. Bye for now. Hello again everyone. If you have not been listening to my last update, I have since left my hotel and I took an Uber to my friend's house an hour away. As I got in the Uber, the driver had been waiting for me to come out and I got into his car. I nearly shit myself as he turned on his car to find that the car opposite directly his, within the parking lot, was a grey Volkswagen. I couldn't tell if it was the same one from the night before, because A, this one had a license plate, and B, I have never gotten a good look at it up close before, so it could just be any other person's car. As we were leaving, I looked up to the hotel and in one of the rooms there was clearly a figure looking out of the window. I'm not jumping to any conclusions right now as to whether or not it was him. I'm not sure if it was the same room as mine. I honestly keep questioning myself at this point as to whether all this shit is real or just paranoia. Maybe the guy actually did find me, and I was just about to be slaughtered, maimed, or worse. Or maybe this is just a classic case of the Bader Meinhof phenomenon, and I'm just finding ways to freak myself out. And one thing that is for sure is that this guy is definitely still hunting me. I got a text from Mr. Sullivan, or Nick, or whatever the fuck he wants to be called, and I'm still petrified after seeing it. At exactly 8:34 PM today, he sent me a video, and the only other thing he has said in the text was, "I see you." Here's the video, have a look for yourself. I am positively sure this is my house. Now, I want to know when this video was taken. It probably was not taken last night as the police were all watching my house, so that means he either took it the first night or as recently as today, and I'm really hoping that it's the latter. If he took it today, that means he probably still thinks that I'm staying there. Unfortunately though, this guy seems far from stupid, and if he has stalked me enough to know my garage code, he most certainly must have noticed that I am no longer coming back there. Either way, he's trying to terrorize me, and he is probably trying to get me to flee my house for his perfect moment to strike. And in some twisted way, I expected worse. I don't know what makes this psychopath tick. Maybe dead animals, maybe dead people, or just seeing his victims crumble under all the stress he's inflicting upon them. What I am dreading is the fact that he actually manages to find me at my friend's place. This guy, we'll call him Tom, not his real name obviously, took up the mantle of protecting me, and if this guy manages to find me, I will never forgive myself for putting this on him. I offered to pay him money, but he refused. So, for the past 2 hours, we've just been doing nothing but drinking beer and playing video games to calm my nerves. Tom is a bit of a hick, I would say. He loves dipping, sitting on his front porch drinking beer, and he has a pretty large collection of guns. Probably the best friend to have in a situation like this, just as you guys have been begging me to get hold of. So all in all right now, I'm feeling the most secure that I have felt out of all the days since this shit has started. I have informed the police about the situation and gave them the video, and they told me that they had not seen a car near my house at all in the past day. I gave them the number, and they told me that they will do their best to try to triangulate its position. Now that it's getting late, my friend and I have decided we need to start securing the place in case of intruders. His house has security alarms. He lives on a relatively busy street, so no one can park near the house without parking in the driveway, and he has been staying off of social media as I have asked him to do so for my safety. The anxiety hasn't stopped, but this is the first time I have a friend by my side to help me with the situation, so I feel a little better. He gave me one of his pistols, and we started shooting in the range in his backyard, despite never having shot a gun before. We are currently on his porch, just talking as I write this down. I'm very grateful for all your support for the past couple of days, guys. Updates will come as always, everybody. Have a good night, everyone. Hopefully nothing notable will happen for once. Now we wait. Update. I'm sorry for the wait, everyone, but I have been on the road all day. Last night, when I posted the third update, many people in the comments had told me that I needed to stop using Reddit, as it would only lead to him finding my location. So I didn't. I turned my laptop off and put my phone on airplane mode for the past day. I decided my best course of action would be to calm my nerves and finally get some shut-eye. I signed off of Reddit, jumped into my buddy's couch, and finally went to sleep. At approximately 3 in the morning, my friend woke me up telling me I needed to check something out. I immediately grabbed the revolver I had left on the table next to the couch, and we went to the front porch. In the distance, we could see a car parked all the way down the road. I'd say it was about 300 yards, and still visible because of a street light. The following was the conversation that happened between me and my friend, Tom. Tom says, "See that car down there? I was dozing off, and the moment I snapped out of it, the thing just showed up out of nowhere. It was just sitting there." "How long do you think it's been there for?" "I'm not sure, man. I just saw it there and stared at it for a good 2 minutes. After that, I took my flashlight and started flashing it on and off. Shortly after, the car shut off, and some guy got out and waved, and then he walked into the woods." There is a wooded area near my buddy's house that if you walk through it, you can go walk into a large open field in his backyard. There is a fence dividing the field and his backyard, but it can easily be hopped. I ask him, "Do you think we should go check it out?" No, this guy could be going to the woods and coming back around towards my back door. You have to stay here and I'll go check it out." "Alright, if it's a grey Volkswagen, we need to leave immediately. I want you to recall the license plate and look inside to look for anything notable. That means ropes, knives, duct tape, anything sketchy that we need to get out of here for." "Alright, wait inside and defend the house. Make sure no one gets inside." I went back inside and stared out the window as Tom approached the vehicle with his 12 gauge. I went to the back of his house and stared out of his backyard window and saw some figure start walking across the field. This was particularly strange, as there were no houses visible in this field, and he just seemed like he was walking towards nowhere. He climbed over a hill, and he was no longer in view from the window. I went back to the front window to look at the car, and Tom was checking it out. I felt relieved for the slightest moment, as I felt like maybe, just maybe, I was overreacting. Then, his home phone rang. I looked at it and saw the caller ID, and it was my area code, not Tom's. At this point, I had my phone still on airplane mode, so I assumed it was someone from my neighborhood or family trying to contact me. I felt almost intrusive seeing that I was answering a call to a home that was not even mine. But now was not a time to take chances, so I answered. I picked up the phone. "Hello? Excuse me, who is this?"
"Oh, excuse me, sir, my apologies. Is this the owner of the household?"
"No, I'm just a friend of the owner. He's currently outside. Who's this?" At this point, I just felt that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when you realize you fucked up. I just realized that I'm here alone, and whoever is calling just realized that too. Hello?
Who else are you with, sir? Is it just you?
At this point I was shaking and I could barely speak without stumbling my words. I decided the best thing to do is lie like there is no tomorrow. No, we're having a party here and there are a couple of other people here. I ask again, sir, who's calling?
Are you sure about that? I was just walking by and saw that there are only 2 cars in his driveway.
Listen, just fucking tell me who you are and why the fuck are you calling this house so late? Hello? Can you please just fucking tell me?
I apologize, sir. I may have the wrong number. Tell whoever owns this house to call back. Thank you.
Then, he hung up. Tom had come back and said that the car was not a Volkswagen and had a license plate. He said the windows were tinted and the doors were locked, so there was really nothing he could make out. I told him about the caller, and he said that he had no idea whose number that was. He called back. No answer. He called from a restricted number. No answer. An hour passed by as we were sitting on the porch and we heard an audible slam from his back door. We both looked at each other and he motioned to follow him around the back. We saw nothing out of the ordinary. We looked around everywhere for footprints, but still nothing. When we had gone back to the front porch after countless minutes of searching, it was approximately 4 in the morning at that point. It wasn't until 10 minutes after we got back to the porch that we noticed that the car that was 300 yards away was gone, and we hadn't even noticed. I haven't gotten any sleep last night. I told him that I wanted to leave his house because I need to keep moving, and he said that he wants to come too. He locked up all of his doors, brought some guns, and we drove off at 6 in the morning. Police still haven't done jack shit despite all the valuable intelligence I gave them, and I've been on the road all day with my friend. I drove a lot and he slept in the back. We're currently at a McDonald's as I type this. We were joking and saying that if we end up getting kidnapped or murdered or attacked, these no-sleep posts will make one hell of a based on a real story script. I'm just tired, guys. Tired of being stalked, tired of being hunted down, and tired of making these goddamn posts. I just want this to be over. If anything happens tonight, I'll let you all know. Bye for now. I'm sorry to inform you guys, but I think it's about time to wrap up the show. My parents have returned home, and both the police and my neighbours haven't seen the man ever since I left. I've been on the road for the past few days, and I just want to stop running. My parents informed me that they got hold of a revolver now, and all I want to do is just go home, sleep in my bed, and be done with this madness. I'm starting to think that all of this has all just been in my head. The guy hasn't made any notable appearances in my life since that night, and maybe the video that he sent was just from the first 2 nights I saw him. I don't know. I guess that's been the problem ever since the start of this, is that I must just have been overreacting to this whole phenomenon. Surely I must have been overreacting. Maybe this guy is just some deranged burglar. Maybe he came to my house thinking that I was somebody else. I don't know for sure. Tom and I have been on and off the road, only stopping to get food or to piss. A lot of comments have been telling me to either stop using Reddit or to stake it out and confront the guy myself. I've come to realize that I've been making a poor choice documenting everything that has been happening on Reddit. God only knows if this man has been using it to his advantage. But more importantly, I've been hiding and running away from him all this time. I thought it was finally time to confront him myself. Now, I'm not going to make an effort to contact him or to find him, but if he decides he wants to come and attack my house, my family, and myself, then he will finally meet his maker. However, I thought a good start would be to pay the 7-Eleven guy a visit today, and we decided to confront him. I just needed to be sure that it wasn't him. We parked in front of the 7-Eleven at about 8 at night, about 3 hours ago. This is the conversation that we had, to the best of my memory. Tom says, "Is this the guy?" "Yeah, this is him. Let's just go inside and ask him a few questions. We just need to scare him a little and see how he responds." Tom took his pistol from the back seat and put it in his holster. I told him, "Dude, is that necessary? Look man, we aren't even sure if this is the guy. We just can't pull a gun on him and make him shit himself for no reason. Just taking some precaution is all, and if this is the guy then we gotta be careful." And with that, Tom got out of his car and started walking in as I followed. As soon as we walked in, the cashier asked, "Hey boys, how are we doing today?" We both gave him a stern look, so he responded, "Hey guys, come on, what's that sour mood for?" I looked at Tom and he looked back at the cashier and said, "Lovely day, isn't it?" I could see that the guy was getting visibly nervous and began to sweat a little. "Hey man, I can't help but notice that gun in your holster. Pretty nice gun that. Is that an M1911 Colt, right? My dad had one of those." We didn't break eye contact. "Yeah, I would say it's a pretty nice day, isn't it? How's your day going?" I asked. I went directly in front of the counter and got face to face with him. "Hey, can I ask you something?" I could see the cashier swallowing and he coughed. "Yeah, what is it?" "Do you drive here to work by any chance?" Oh, not really. My friend drops me off." I looked at Tom and he looked back at the guy. "You best not be lying to us." The cashier broke. "Look guys, I don't want any trouble. If you're here to rob the place, that doesn't concern me. I'm just a guy who works here, alright? Just take the money and go if that's what you want." "We aren't here to rob anything. Just asking a couple of questions if that's alright with you," I said. The cashier folded his arms and said, "Sure, ask whatever you need. What's up?" "When does your shift end?" "Oh, usually around 3 in the morning. Hey, what's all this about, boys? Are you guys undercover cops or something?" "Have you seen a grey Volkswagen in the past couple of nights you've been working here?" Actually I did. The night before you came in, there was a guy who came in after you the other night." "Did he buy anything?" "Yeah, he bought some cigarettes and dipping tobacco. He didn't say much, but he said he had a long night ahead of him." Tom then asked, "I take it he gave you ID?" "Yeah, he did." "What was his name? Do you remember?" "I think it was something like Nathan Silverstein or something along those lines." "Nick Sullivan?" "Shit, I'm pretty sure that was his name. What's it to you, by the way?" "Can we see your ID for a second?" He showed us his ID, and this guy seemed to be completely innocent. "Alright man, thank you for your time. The police might come later to ask you for your camera feed from that night, but I appreciate your help," I said to the guy. We left, and that was the end of it. Finally, after all these days of running, we finally got a decent lead on this guy. We called the police, and they are currently going over the tapes. This was an amazing feeling now that we finally have a good lead on this guy now. I can finally go home. Tom has been such a good friend the past couple of days, and I'm eternally grateful for what he has done for me in this time of need. After a long day of traveling, he told me that his girlfriend has been awfully worried about him, and this made me feel even worse about the situation. Finally, I told him that we need to part ways, and that I wanted to go home and rest, and then I apologized for putting him in danger. He told me not to sweat it, and that it was a pretty exciting experience for him, despite it maybe putting our lives in jeopardy. I gave him some money to help him with his troubles. He's going to his girlfriend's house, he said, and he'll be staying there for a while until this gets completely sorted out. No more running, no more fear, no more stalking. I am finally done with this, guys. I can't wait to go home, see my family, and be safe and sound in my own home again. I want to thank you all for your support through these past few days. It has really meant a lot. At some point I got text from my parents saying it was safe to come home. When I called them, everything sounded normal. However, my mum sounded somewhat worried and flustered about the whole situation when my dad put her on the phone. I asked her what was wrong, and she had simply told me, "I'm just under a lot of stress," and followed it with, "Just come home, please. We miss you." I feel sorry for them. I don't know why, but I somewhat blame myself for all of this shit happening. If they haven't seen the stalker at all, then this must have to do with me and me alone. I must have done something to cause this man to torment my family. As we speak, Tom just left, back home, to his girlfriend's, and I'm finishing this last update at Starbucks. I'll call an Uber, and I'll finally be home. If the guy gets caught, I'll link you guys to a news article or something. But this is the final update. Thank you all for the advice and enthusiasm. Peace. Update. 12:12 AM. I just got home and there aren't any cars in my driveway. I'm a little worried. I'm calling my parents now. 12:14 AM. Alright, no answer from my parents. Gonna try the garage code now. 12:16 AM. Well, my parents have changed the garage code or something. I'm banging on the door and no one is fucking answering. 12:18 AM. Jesus, it's fucking cold. 12:21 AM. Alright, well, lights are turning on in my bedroom, so they're obviously home. 12:24 AM. Have a nice day, everyone. 12:34 AM.
Lol. Guys. Guys, I'm just kidding. Y'all need to chill.
12:35 AM.
More updates to come, guys. Lots and lots of updates.
12:38 AM.
Just wait for 3:24 AM, everyone. Bye bye.